Yeah, guys. So, I thought I'd do a quick reading from this. If anyone's interested. I mean, we need people to join, though, really. Did you know early bras were developed for men? They added an extra padding between waistcoats and the chest area that higher class individuals would use to puff their chests. This style of bra was known as a puffer. It is common parlance that they made the wearers seem as though they needed to exhale, though maybe a more recent translation would be to say they were full of hot air. Following the invention of the flushable toilet was the U-bend in order to prevent the smell of excrement creeping back into the room through the toilet bowl. Later came the invention of the ball cock. Originally invented to limit the amount of water needed to fill a cistern, it was later adapted to be attached to the flush or chain of the toilet to assist in flushing. Little hello goody soup. To compete with overseas saffron suppliers, a corporation conducted years of research into producing artificial saffron or finding a natural replacement. It was discovered that if you expose the fat and soft meat under the shell of an armadillo to certain undisclosed conditions, you can in fact recreate a powdered substitute for saffron. Due to the constant rotation of the Earth and the ever-expanding orbit of the Earth, although it all moves in proportion, to the space around it, it is now widely accepted that spirit levels are only accurate to within 5 degrees. The gas bubble within the green liquid moves at a different rate due to the pressure the liquid exerts within the tiny tube. This is why some builders have begun using laser lines instead. This is from More You Know. If I flip the camera other way, mirror, there you go. See, there you go. Suzanne Rader is the only recorded woman to live her life surviving purely off of dairy, specifically old cheeses. Though towards the end of her life she began to consume more creams and milk due to developing a form of gum disease that made chewing even the softest cheese agonisingly painful. In a grotesque twist of fate, Miss Rader, whilst attending a local park in Suffolk, England, was mauled to death by her own dog after an event onlookers described in the local gazette as shocking and a bit of a blur. The article itself claims that during a freak accident caused by strong winds, a branch fell, which spooked the Dairy Queen's canine companion, and it attacked its owner. She died later that evening in the hospital, surrounded by her family. And here's a picture of Suzanne Rader being mauled by her dog. In medieval times, when torture was more common, a method favoured in what is now the western coast of Wales was a term called kerpenning. Using a large Newton's cradle-like device, they would place the victim in the stocks while the local blacksmith would place an iron casing around their head, like a spaceman or an opaque fishbowl, and then the pendulums would be released, banging weighted metal balls off of one another on the head casing. This was a torture method that travelled around the British Isles, and it seems to be where the term banging headache originates. And there you can see kerpenning in its original. That's what kerpenning used to look like. The term buck teeth comes from pirates, not the modern assault rifle toting pirates, but the old swashbuckling sort. Officials had charts of teeth positions explaining the pseudoscience behind determining behaviour from skeletal structure, though for the average person the term would be used to describe wobbly looking teeth caused by fighting. And there you go. There's a picture of a fellow with buck teeth. The record for the world's youngest woman is such a heavily contested title that the waiting list itself is to be judged is often longer than the age of the women when they first apply. And here you can see the women there are queuing up the new women to be the world's youngest woman. So she was the world's youngest woman, but then the new generation came and she's got half the shaved head. Then the new generation came in and she's got somewhat of a shaved head with a blue mohawk. And then this one came in where she got a shaved side of the head, weird pigtails and hairy armpits. In a survey of emergency department and accident and emergency staff for the UK, there was an optional request to detail a patient that stood out to them. One member of staff recalled a story of a gentleman brought in by police after being discovered unconscious in a nearby wooded area. The man's breathing was described as shallow. The police had handcuffed the patient because upon exploring his belongings to try and find some ID and that, they discovered a collection of damaged teddy bears with name tags attached to them and what they suspected to be remnants of semen. After a few tests, it was discovered that the gentleman's breathing problem was brought about by a large quantity of human hair lining his esophagus. The man had his throat cleared in surgery and a hairball removed from his stomach. Police escorted him away from the hospital upon his discharge, presumably under arrest or off to be sectioned. And there's the fella that was collecting spunk-covered teddy bears, chewing on air. If anyone's interested in learning more, £2.50 on my website, mate, for an ebook. £8.50 I think for the paperback. But I make the same amount of money if you buy the ebook, so get the ebook. Saves us all the job as well. In 2009, a man was recorded in Scarborough Town Centre holding a sign claiming he will drink anything for a fiver. A local reporter found him in hospital a few days later after drinking half a pint of screen wash, an unspecified amount of seawater and another gentleman's urine. And here he is, with his drink anything for a fiver sign in a hospital bed. What do you think of that then, the people that have stuck around? What are our thoughts on this? Before the invention of portable drinking vessels, less densely populated areas would be chock full of holes as people would scramble around to find a water source. Some would guard their holes, others would use them as traps to loot travellers. Archaeologists have searched for years to find physical evidence of these so-called drinking holes, though they've never found one. And there's your archaeologist digging holes to find old ancient holes. And that one over there is about the other picture there. I'll explain that one without reading it. That's about a law that was passed in New Zealand that for a very small, unspecified amount of time, maybe a few hours or so, a little loophole in the law existed where it was actually legal to make love with what's called a swamp harrier in New Zealand, which is a type of bird, by the way, if anyone's wondering. Give it a go, Doodle Soup, mate. Doodle Soup, give it a go, mate. See what you think of it. Fucking... I'll read you from another one. How to date an antique table, a lover's guide. Get a bit more for your money with this one. So this one is and at the back of the back of 2 out of the 3 books as well. You get some pictures of me taxidermy as well, something to show mates in that. But this one's all about how you could fuck an antique table if you really wanted to. So your dating ideas like bowling, strike up a conversation, maybe split a drink. A good way to show your competitive side to your antique table. You can show off your strength by hurling the ball. You can show off your control as you get spare after spare. You can show off your dance moves after you get a strike, mate. If you're into sex outdoors, it's a good way to make little jokes about the last time I shoved my thumb in a hole was down an alleyway too. Or, do you often cradle balls in alleyways? And there's a picture of you, a woman, because the book's inclusive, you know. There's you, a lady, with her antique table going bowling. Oh, buzzing, Simon. Which book was it you went for? Was it this one, or was it More You Know, or was it Uneducated Guesses? Get him one of the others, mate, as a little treat, you know, or treat yourself to one of the others so you can show it to him, return a favour, and that. Take a trip to a beach. As they say, life's a beach and then you die. Tease them with threats of going to the beach. That'll put a fear of God into your antique table. The abrasive sand taking the finish off the bottom halves of the antique table's legs. The sand blowing in the wind, slightly damaging the finish at the top. Moisture from the rock pools seeping into the base of the carefully buffed legs. So, imagine the relief when you pull up to a hilly field, home to a huge beech tree. No strong winds, sit and listen to some music, read books to each other, take drugs, have a couple of alcoholic beverages, build a den, draw the tree, or even climb the tree together. This may allow the antique table to get nostalgic about its childhood, and you can share in this moment together. Here's you going to the beach with your antique table. See, definitely inclusive, because now it's a shorter woman with ginger hair as well, you know. Oh, thank you, Doodle Soup. Thank you for looking at it. I'll be making more. I just thought I'd tell people about the books for 20 minutes. I'm glad you like it, Simon. You got this one's out now. There's a little ebook and that, you know. If you do get the ebooks and that, take screenshots and share them around for us and tag it, because it fucking might help people find it and that, innit? Hunting, a great way to show your skills as a provider. You can show your ability to use a weapon. You can show off your patience and butchery skills, things that may become useful later in life when you have a little nest of tables of your own. And this will be running through the imagination of your antique table, driving it wild. Now, you will want to have all the necessary licences to go hunting and be safe using your weapons whilst the pair of you are waiting to ambush some woodland wildlife. You can talk about anything that comes to mind. Pass the time. Shoot the shit, if you will. And there's a picture of you with your antique table hunting what could be a deer, what could be a school bus. Who knows? Some chat up lines so you know what to say to an antique table. You look like you need to be treated. Me and my girlfriend like to play with a little fur. Fancy bumping into you. I don't smoke, but I'd tap that ash. Just some of the chat up lines you can use with an antique table to help yourself get your end away. Now, got another one. This is my first book, Uneducated Guesses. So it's a load of big words that I don't know the meaning to, and then I guess what they mean, broke them down and drew a picture. So you got like syzygy. Syzygy, noun, for a lesbian orgy. Example, Tina, Georgina, Francine and Carol invited Sarah over for a syzygy. And there's your picture. The syzygy. Yeah, doodle soup, please do. If you post it around, mate, fucking tag us on it and I'll probably spread it around as well for you. It's good for us both, innit? And I'd love to see what you do with it. Ineffable. When an argument is in a situation where swearing is not at all acceptable. For example, when somebody offends you in front of your children and you want to stand your ground but not teach your child swear words, it's an ineffable situation. And here you are, your inclusivity is the name of the game. A couple of women with their kids, and or it could just be like a hairy man, and one of them's saying, "Oh, sugar," and the other one's going, "Ah, you fudging country tractor." Flummery, breaking bad news to children, missing out upsetting details for the child's benefit. Example, after Dennis died, his wife took the son aside and gave him a flummery. She told him his dad's dead, but he doesn't know that he slowly bled out, trapped under the steering wheel of his car. See, there's an example. She's telling oh, you know, your dad's an angel now. But really, he's behind the wall with his guts being ripped out and the car's gone over him. Enjambment, noun, for unwarranted singing in public places, usually undertaken by intoxicated individuals. For example, the enjambment really unsettled the other mourners at Anthony's wake. And there's Anthony's funeral, and a fella doing an enjambment, just knocking about in a cemetery having a sing-song. Cater Cornerways, a commercial chef using self-taught methods to speed up cooking and food preparation activities. For example, when Ludwig set off the smoke alarms and shattered the windows of the kitchen, the owners immediately acted to fire him. But when he explained himself, they discovered he was speed roasting a turkey using his homemade concoction of explosives. The owners were so impressed by Ludwig's Cater Cornerways that they put him in a transparent, soundproof room in the eating area, where Ludwig's exploding poultry quickly became the star attraction. And there's Ludwig blowing up a turkey, speed roasting a turkey. So that's some of the books. And I know not many people have watched this, but I'm going to use the video and cut it down and use it for posts in it. So, like I said, £2.50 each. If anyone's interested, I'm going to go because my radio show's probably about to start. So if you want to hear my radio show, download the Threshold FM app or go to threshold.fm and have a listen at 12. I'll fucking see you in a bit.